4 of the smartest defensive tricks you should be using. Number 1, after a made layup by yourself, begin to jog down the court, relax.
After a split second, turn and go for a steal on the inbound.
2, if you have an opponent who's very strong hand dependent,
Angle them towards the weak hand sideline.
allow them to get all the way to the baseline, but don't let them turn the corner. Once they get to the corner, they'll want to change back to their strong hand,
And you'll be sitting on the change for a steal.
3, if people keep scoring easy layups on you, focus on jumping to the other side of their body.
By doing this, you have a way better angle for a block. Lastly, if there's a back to the basket big man who can't pass,
Wait for them to turn their head and have a blind spot and go for a steal. Note, this might only work once a game. These are basketball IQ hacks that'll make you the smartest player on the floor. Number 1, if you're in a situation where you're falling out of bounds, you can throw the ball off of the defender.
this will get you out of trouble by allowing your team to maintain possession of the ball. 2, if the defender's back is turned and you can't find anybody open, you can throw it off of their back. This is risky, be careful with it. 3, in transition defense, tap your opponent on one side and go for a steal on the other.
That quick tap will likely cause them to switch hands, and it'll be an easy steal. On any skip pass, catch and shoot, or drive to the basket, the defender will likely be closing a large gap, which will give you a ton of space to get a shot off. If he closes the gap too fast to cover the shot, go by him.
Stop trying to get open like this. It doesn't work. Instead, use this very simple 3-step process. This is going to save you a ton of time and a ton of energy, trust me. Step 1, place your foot in between the defender's feet. Step 2, use a spin seal to seal the defender away from the ball. Maintain contact with the defender until the ball is passed, then go get it.
These are the top 9 moves that everybody needs in their bag in basketball. Number 9, we got a double tween. Super useful when you have an over-aggressive defender. 8, we got an in and out cross. It would be higher on my list, but it gets poked sometimes. 7, a snatchback cross to a delayed tween. Remember, don't explode until that ball hits the opposite hand after the tween. Next, we got a drop cross. It's so sudden and unexpected, it works with great efficiency. 5 is one of my personal favorites. Everyone knows this is called the Smitty. 4, you can only hit if you're a pro. I took this from the GOAT himself, the professor. Number 3 is super tough. It's a shot fake Tim Hardaway. Sell it with your eyes to the rim and hand to the ball. 2 is another one of my favorites, the cross jab. If you want that Ja Morant handle package, definitely add this to your. And lastly, the number 1 move in the game right now, Twitch Tim Hardaway.
Here are 3 defensive hacks to use when you're undersized in a mismatch. I used these all throughout college when I was guarding players 60 pounds heavy. Number 1, you confront the post and deny a pass in. Just make sure you and your team are on the same page. You need backside help. Number 2, you can pull the chair out from under them. If you feel them leaning their body weight on you, you can use that to your advantage. It's best to do this when the ball is already on the way to them. Lastly, being physical with leverage, which means getting lower than them and pushing them out of the way. Make sure you're discreet, don't shove anybody, but doing your work early gives them lower percentage options on the catch.
I know every hooper's worst nightmare is playing against a scrappy, pesky defender, but I have 4 simple hacks that will help you deal with them. First one, you gotta know if you're swinging the ball on your pick. Always aim to shield the ball away from the defender in order to protect the ball from them. The most annoying thing on a fast break is a back tap. Easiest way to counteract that is to use a body shield and get your body in front of them. Me personally, I hate getting the ball stripped by a help side guy on a drive, so I use the football carry to help counteract. And the last one, everybody needs to know how to clear hand checks. Using swim move arm swipes can be the easiest way to counteract them. Get your hand over the top of your defender's arm and put. If you want to be an elite hooper, you have to be able to make these 6 pro level reads. Make sure you rewatch all of them. First read is turn hips on a defender. I say this all the time, the perfect read is to snatch the ball back. The defender is overextending themselves and they're going to have to take an extra step to get back to you and contest your shot. It's also going to open up some driving opportunities to the other side, as your defender is going to have to flip their hips over in order to get back in front. Next read is a defender who's standing up with a tall body stance, especially if they have a top foot. As soon as you see somebody standing straight up, you know it's time to go by them. Attack them quickly. The next read is if your defender is backing up, you have to be able to pull up over them. If you're somebody who's an absolute weapon getting downhill, like Prime Westbrook, it's an absolute must that you're able to do this. Next read, if you get by your defender, try to put them in jail and get in front of their body. This is going to give you a lot of room to work with. If nobody helps, you have an easy layup. Next read, if the defender's on the side of you, you want to bump them off their spot, and that'll free some room up for you to score your layup. And the final read, if your defender overcommits, you have to make the read to change direction. Personally, I think one of the best options is to use a spin move in order to make that change, because it allows you to keep the ball protected from the defender. You keep getting ripped on your drives to the basket, but these pickups are all you really need. If you ever recognize turn hips on a defender, that's the perfect time to spin off. Watching Tatum film this bump to a Euro has been one of my favorites. And then if you watch any type of college basketball, you know this spin back is huge. Lastly, a jump stop floater is essential for any hooper to have. 5 new moves to use in isolation. Definitely try these out if you get a switch onto a big. Just have these in your back pocket. First 2 are for my beginners. It's a full speed tween and a full speed in and out. Hard for a defender to account for that change of direction. Next one, you're retreating to a drop cross. Stole that from Jordan Poole. Number 4, I know you guys seen the Jordan through the leg skip. You add an AI cross to it. And then number 5, we got a Tatum sidestep. 3 defensive tips that are going to have you a lockdown defender. Save this video so you don't forget. If you're like me, every coach has taught you to close out like this. This was a great closeout in the 1960s, but there are just too many good shooters nowadays. So tip number 1, if you're guarding a shooter, be prepared to run them off the line. Sprint into their shot pocket and make them put the ball on the floor. This is going to force them out of their comfort zone and may cause mistakes on their end. All right, tip number 2, if you're in the low post and you're getting bodied, use the pull the chair method. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. Firstly, you have to recognize when the offensive player is going to want to put their body weight on. Once you recognize them leaning in, it's time to pull the chair. You want to move out of the way at the exact time that you and the offensive player were about to touch. They expect that contact, they don't get it, and they lose balance. Okay, and the final tip is to use leverage to your advantage. Low man is always going to win in the defensive post. Your goal should be to maintain a wide base and a wide stance so that you can handle contact from opposing players. You can take this concept up a whole nother level by doing your work early. The higher you jam your opponent by doing your work early, the better. You want to initiate this leverage as high as possible, and a lot of times just by doing this, they're going to catch the ball in the mid post, and that's a tough area to work out of.